All right. Let me know, man, because I'd hate to sit here and talk for a very long time. But anyway, as I was talking about, there is an attempt to memory hole the complaints of attractive women in video games. And they're trying to memory hole this because they want to justify liking Boulder's Gate, right? And I don't know why they gotta justify it, other than they gotta justify their hypocrisy. If you want to like Boulder's Gate and the sexuality and the nudity in it, all you gotta do is say, hey, we were wrong to say that having what they would call sexualized characters in former video games is bad. Yeah, just recant that, and then you're all good. Oh boy, this is a good opportunity to attempt to, yeah, basically trying to figure out how to highlight people's comments in here. Huh. Like, I have a box here for it, and it's set to be on the top window. Uh-huh. Okay, sorry for the silence, guys, but obviously I put on these streams because I'm still trying to learn how to do it, and sometimes, you know, it's a trial by fire thing. You have to just jump in and do it. That's how I learn. That's how I see it going. I just jump in and do it. Yeah, it's strange. The chats don't show up here. But, okay, well, whatever. Whatever. No, it's not whatever. I gotta learn it. I gotta learn how this works. Let's see. Alright, well, whatever. Oh, also, I got above 3,000 views. Not 3,000 views, Jesus Christ. 300 viewers, or subscribers. I don't know why I can't think. I know why I can't think, because I'm trying to figure out how this gadget works. Yes, it goes burr, and this is all I need. I need to fix more friggin' computer issues, right? That's my life. This is my life now. That's depressing. That's depressing. Okay, duration source. Okay, so it's supposed to appear whenever I hover over it, but it's not working. I'll have to work on it a bit later. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the things that are happening in the world of gaming. I have not read these articles yet. This is my time I set aside to read articles that I think might be interesting, but oftentimes they're a little bit more tame simply because this is live, and I'd rather if there's people here chatting to have a good time than us to get into a big debate over something. Though I tend to just make fun of things anyway, which again, I want to keep talking about the old video, the video I just did, because boy, people blew up on that one. People were not happy with me. I upset a lot of Puritans, and you know, honestly, all I want to say, humbly and respectfully, good. I'm glad I upset them. Fuck them. Let's see. So, in this article by Game Ranks, Overwatch 2 opened up to Steam reviews and it's not going so well. Oh, do you think the Steam customers are not known for being incredibly charitable to games that they feel have screwed them over? Such as Overwatch 2 promised a PvE mode, and then they decided not to follow through with that. Of course, people are going to get upset with you. So, let's see what they have to say so far. Blizzard can only blame themselves for their poor reputation. I was about ready to say that's usually the case if you're reputation is poor, it's oftentimes your fault. But I can't say that, because I can imagine a few scenarios where somebody slanders you, or libel, as they call it in print. I learned that from Spider-Man. Or J. Jonah Jameson, really. Bring me more pictures of Spider-Man. So Blizzard and Valve have finally opened up Overwatch 2 to Steam's review system. Unfortunately for them, the game isn't exactly getting a glowing reception. I didn't even know it was on Steam. I might go and download it for the lulz, as the kids might say. Oh, look at this lady. She looks happy. You know, she's got some action going on up front here. She might want to be careful. No wonder the game's not doing well. Neither gamers nor Puritans are going to like it if you got ladies who have those. As reported by The Gamer, Overwatch 2 is sitting at a mostly negative sentiment from a staggering 7,500 reviews. Particularly popular is a review from Steam user Orange, okay, who describes the game as an attempt to pry open your wallet while masquerading as the game it used to be. 6,000 people marked that review as helpful. Yeah, you know, you should just be thankful you can't put memes into your reviews, because then people would be really savage. Article goes on. Blizzard knows full well the reason it's getting this critical drubbing. I don't know which one's correct. Is it drumming or drubbing? Because here they said drubbing. I'm assuming, since this person writes articles, that they know English better than I do, but you never know anymore. The fans long had a love-hate relationship with the franchise, in particular because of its aggressive monetization, which, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Oh, Carl, thank you for correcting me on that. It is drubbing. So, it's a good thing that this music is playing, because I am confused in what I'm about ready to say. The original Overwatch, the monetization was definitely there, right? You could buy the loot crates, or whatever you wanted to call them, but I never felt like I had to, right? You get a crate for leveling up, and that was really about the only thing that reminded me that they were there, except for you could do challenges to get more crates. I felt more like that was part of the game, and then if you wanted to, you could cheat and spend money. That's the way I felt about it. Unlike take like Mortal Kombat X, which annoyed the piss out of me. I would boot up that game and I would start to play it, and the first thing in your face is buy Goro for this much money. And then you go to the next screen, you can buy these costumes for this much money. The advertisements were in the game, and that's what I call aggressive monetization. I'm sure everybody's going to have different definitions. Some people might agree with me, some people wouldn't, and that's fine. That's fine. This is definitely on a sliding scale, but that's my line. Don't advertise me to me in the fucking game. I bought the game, especially if I paid money for the game. If I didn't pay money for the game, I can kind of get it, right? I can understand. But if I pay a premium price for a game, stop advertising to me. I want to play the game. If I want to give you more money, I will. I did that in the game. I'm sorry, I'm going way off the article, but the hell with it. That's what this is for me to rant. Monster Hunter World was a game where I happily bought microtransactions. And I'm sure somebody can say, boo, you're encouraging the behavior. Well, you know what? The game was incredible. Every few months, they gave you new monsters for free. You didn't have to buy an expansion to get the new monsters. They constantly supported the game. They constantly patched it, constantly updated it. And then they had one expansion, and yes, you did have to pay the ice one that our Puritan brothers and sisters called a colonizing sim. Because apparently you moved to a land that was not settled, and so, you know, but if you know how it is, if you move to any spot other than where you're born, you're colonizing. I guess I always wanted to read that article, but I lost it whenever I moved from one computer to the other at some point. At this point, it's years old. Anyway, you know, to me, there's a threshold for microtransactions that I am willing to deal with. Let's see, where did I lose my place? Oh yeah, it said here, Blizzard knows full well the reason they are getting this critical drubbing. The fans have long had a love-hate relationship with the franchise, in particular because of its aggressive monetization. While regulators stepped in to end Blizzard's practice of propagating loot boxes, Overwatch 2's current monetization model, excuse me, based around the new in-thing season passes, is still deemed too aggressive, and that will obviously turn the fans off. I hated that kind of stuff. The season passes, or the I still don't even understand what they are. It's like, okay, so you buy it and then you get all the DLC that comes out that season? What guarantee do I have of that? What's to stop them from saying, oh, well, here's some other DLC that's bonus DLC, but you gotta pay money for it? Bitch, I bought the season pass. It's like whenever you buy a season pass to go to a pool or a park or something, but then they also have that other section that you gotta pay more money to get into. I know, first world problems, right? First world, but that's what we're covering here. These are first world problems. I'm sorry, once again, that video I just did, oh man, it's still, the comments in there are still bothering me because Appeal to Triviality was a big one that everybody was going for. Oh, it doesn't matter, it's just a game. Oh, but they certainly didn't fucking stop to complain that games had attractive women in them. Wait, hold it. Okay, I gotta move this. I can't see my man's. Yo, dog, I heard you like DLC. So I put some DLC in your DLC so you can DLC. Why? Oh man, how old is that meme? Thank you for that, Carl. That's a blast from the past. Oh god, I wish I could highlight your comments here, man. I feel bad about it. Huh. Sorry, I'm gonna keep playing with that. I got 2 viewers, so, and probably one of them's me, by the way, that things work. But it's just, why is this not working? It's no, it's just, I think it'd be cool to, while I got an opportunity to get this to work. Okay, you know what? Maybe this will tell me something about it here. No. I'm sorry, I'm reading something. Okay. Okay, let's try this. Okay, it says here, use this widget by hovering over the right side of a chat message to see a thumbtack icon. Clicking on the icon, if it's that simple, I'm gonna feel really fucking dumb. Clicking this icon will pin the message to the widget, and it's for its duration or until you click the unpin button. Okay. I'm not seeing a pin button. No. No, that's not working. Okay, alright. Alright, I'm gonna experiment with something here. Well then, why isn't that showing? Come on. It's gotta work. Let's see. So there's that. Oh, I see. Okay. So this thing I got going fucked up. Okay. So now did that work? Did that do what it was supposed to? No, it didn't. Okay. All right. So I fucked something up. I'm gonna have to do a reinstall or something later. Okay. So let's see what else is going on. Oh my God, get this shit off my screen. Okay. However, the big narrative that Blizzard can only blame themselves for is in relation to Overwatch 2's PvE content. For months, Blizzard promised sprawling ambitions of Overwatch 2's narratives. Fans had hoped that Blizzard would flesh out the still potent storylines that were mostly grazed on in the original Overwatch. Blizzard sold their fans on the dream that they would be able to play out these stories about its past and future, and that it would amount to one of the biggest narrative shooter experiences the industry has ever seen. I believe that they have had these in the past. What was it called? Borderlands? That was a very narrative-driven, almost RPG-like shooter. So they already had the framework to do it. And then, just like that, they threw it all out. Well, after Blizzard had successfully shut off the original Overwatch servers, Blizzard's reasoning for the abrupt change, pardon me, is hard to parse, and obviously the fans don't buy it. Whether this is a story of Blizzard not ready to live up to the expectations or changes in the company's budget. However, it is Blizzard essentially broke their promise to Overwatch fans as soon as it was too late to take it back. Yeah, this is not something you want to do to loyal paying customers. And let me tell you, for the longest time, I was a very loyal Blizzard company. I really like that. Customer. I really like that company. I thought they put out good products. I thought they did a good job. But then suddenly they just they started to take things in a way that I really didn't like. And I know that well, I had okay, story time again. We're going back in time. I had seen things firsthand. This is why I'm so pissed off that people are trying to memory hole certain things that happened in the past, because I lived them. I was a pretty hardcore gamer for a good portion of my life, and I watched these things happen in real time, and all the complaints about the way that female characters were depicted, specifically in World of Warcraft is where I remember it most. They were so upset that Thrall's wife got pregnant. They got so upset. You understand that? Two orcs together, Thrall and his wife, I can't remember her name, and I'm sure that means I'm a horrible, evil, sexist person. But, you know, a man and a woman hang out long enough without the, you know, technology of prophylactics. The lady's going to get pregnant, at least before 2023. So, and they literally thought that was sexist that she got pregnant. And Blizzard I don't think they caved into it, because you can't take it back, right? But it just, I watched this stuff happen, and I watched people get kicked out of guilds for disagreeing or saying anything against the narrative. This is also when Anita Sarkeesian's videos were big. Everybody was holding them up. And I saw people kicked out of guilds. I saw people run out of servers on the forums for disagreeing with things for that mentality. And now they try to act like that never happened. I'm sorry. I seen it. I seen it with my own eyes. What even got me started on that rant? Oh yeah, because I used to be a Blizzard customer, and just as I left World of Warcraft, I probably dropped a dime on why I left. The company just started getting weirder and weirder, and then of course the news came out of the kind of culture they got going on inside their building while pretending to pay, oh, they came out with that diversity tool was where I really just cut it off. I think I didn't even install my Blizzard Authenticator anymore because I was like, okay, the hell with that. If you don't know, the Blizzard not the Authenticator, the Blizzard diversity tool assigned points to character creation based on disabilities, race, gender, things like that. And of course, white people got a big fat 0, men got a big fat 0, and straight people got a big fat 0. So essentially my joke is that if we lost straight white men, nothing of value would be lost. Literally 0 points would be lost from the world. And that's whenever I decided, okay, fuck Blizzard. Going on. Overwatch 2 may have new heroes, a constant stream of new content, and even be free, but because of how Blizzard set this situation up, their own fans feel cheated by the new game. Reading that out, you would think that such a thing wouldn't even be possible, but Blizzard found a way. It's not clear how Blizzard can smooth out their reputation now. I do think if they can make satisfying PvE content in the scale that they were working on, they could win most, if not all, fans over. It's too late, man. But fans won't be quick to forgive, and truthfully, they're right to feel that way. It is so rare and refreshing to read a gaming article that gives some credence to the fans. In the past, they would say, "Oh, fans are stupid. They're shallow. Fuck the fans." But it seems like a lot of things are turning. Like I said, they're trying to memory hole a lot of things that they said in the past, and they're trying to act like that never happened, and trying to, like, if you noticed, they're not so quick to call people Nazis and bigots and sexist anymore. They kind of turn to calling things creepy or weird now, which what that means. Okay, and so that's the end of that article. So let's see what else we got here. And once again, Carl, I am so sorry I can't pin your comments. That breaks my heart. I thought I had this figured out. But yeah, this is going to need a restart or something. Okay, so let's get this one set up. Okay. So I'm sure that this isn't going to be divisive at all. Polygon article. Diablo 4's approach to body types lacks imagination. So here we go. We're going to complain about the body types now. Let this be a lesson to all game developers. It is never good enough. It will never be good enough. They will always ask for more. Always. Let's see. So, yeah, I mean, I know it's wrong to assume, but I'm guessing that this is a female and this is a male. Typically, males have facial hair. Sorry, I know that what I just did is atrocious and mean, but also for the comparison. So yeah, they both look to have very similar body types, so I'm not quite sure what the problem could be. Blizzard Entertainment does not have the best track record when it comes to fat characters. Okay, I guess this could be kind of true. They had a lot of different body types in Overwatch, which was their um, diversity magnum opus. But you know, whenever I say that, it sounds like a bad thing, but really it wasn't. I didn't even notice until they kept talking about it. I was, you know, like somebody mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, the characters are pretty diverse. I was more concerned about moving the payload than, you know, any kind of messaging in the game. Article continues on. Sometimes it's a matter of learning too hard on leaning. Oh, that's leaning too hard on irritating fat character tropes. Chen in Heroes of the Storm, for example, can master the martial arts but can't find a shirt that fits him. I don't understand this complaint. There's people out there who are geniuses but can't balance a checkbook. Uh, just because a person's good at one thing doesn't mean that they got their other shit together. Some people are neurotic. There's people out there who can explain to you nuclear physics, but they can't walk into a room without flipping the light switch 5 times. It's the mind is not a perfect thing. And also, I would say I think it's what makes us charming in a way, is that we all have these quirks that are very strange about us. I would share mine, but I don't want to give too much personal information about me. The great martial artist can't find a shirt that fits him, or can't pin comments. Fuck you. I already feel bad enough. Okay. Sometimes, let's see here. Priscilla Ashvane and Harlan Sweetie in Battle for Azeroth encapsulate the fat and greedy glutton villain trope. Look at Roadhog's, well, everything in Overwatch. Well, Roadhog is massive in that game. He's Fatty McFat. Other times, it's the complete absence of fatness. World of Warcraft players had to wait nearly 15 years for a playable race that wasn't a wasp wasted supermodel or muscle bro or literal anthro cow. Okay, look, you don't talk shit about the Tauren. The Tauren are sweet, compassionate, and awesome people. The Tauren, I love the Tauren. I loved the Tauren in World of Warcraft. They seem like the coolest. They were the people you want to hang out with, get high with, or get drunk with. They were the people, you know. And then whenever you get too drunk and you can't take care of yourself, oh man, they take care of you. They were true bros. From what I understand, they were even nice to the Alliance for the most part. They didn't like the idea of the war. But they had a brotherhood with the orcs, and so they helped. They were for the Horde, which they should be, because the Horde was right. Thrall was right. That's what I'm saying. Let's get that ad off of there. Okay, when Diablo 4 art director John claimed that the game would have the most inclusive experience we've ever made in a Diablo game, you can never make things. It can never be inclusive enough. It will never happen. They will find a way to complain. Which is, again, one of the big complaints they have with attractive women. In a way, they're sneak complaining about attractive women here. It's talking about the wasp wasted women. So here we go. We've already got an example. I was told that no one cries about attractive women in video games. Well, here we go. It's right here in this fucking article. So I'm going to have to pin this a favorite, because I'm going to do a whole video about how they had cried and they continue to cry about attractive women. Continuing on with the article, let's just say I tempered my expectations considerably. As it turned out, this was justified. Writing in December of last year about a preview build of the game, Polygon's Mike McWhorter observed that while the character creator had numerous options for body paint, hairstyles, and jewelry, what players won't find is a variety of body types. I remember when I played Diablo 3 for the first time, I'd never played a Diablo. And somebody might say, oh, well, you're not a real gamer. Well, okay, I mean, you're welcome to that opinion. But Diablo 3 was my first Diablo. And it was my first Diablo. All right, so, and I was surprised that there was no character creation options except for selecting your gender, which is problematic today. Now you got to select body type A and body type B, right? So you could select the gender, but that was it. The game made your character for you, which I guess was fine because it was very rare that your appearance of your character actually ever mattered, so I couldn't have cared less. My Crusader was a big hulking man who beat up people, and so I was a happy person. If anybody knows anything about me, I like the big studly men. That's going to get clipped and used against me. Let's see here. Continuing on. Diablo... You mean the Diablo franchise? The Diablo franchise head, Rob Ferguson, claimed that this is because body type is closely tied, in Blizzard's eyes, to class fantasy. A somewhat amorphous modern term for how the gestalt experience of playing a character, their mechanics, aesthetics, and so forth should feel. In Diablo terms, the class fantasy of playing a barbarian might be about feeling powerful, strong, or indestructible, whereas a rogue might entail feeling as though you're fast, cunning, and untouchable. I can agree with that. But yeah, I don't know. I find some irony in stating that basically they're saying that the term class fantasy is nebulous, but a lot of these people they thrive on using very nebulous terms, or they take terms that are known, right? Words that we know the definitions to, but then they expand them to mean something completely nebulous that nobody can keep track of. The word becomes all inclusive. I don't know. I think the game looks good. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a Crusader or a Paladin type, because typically in these games, though I'm pretty sure Carl might be surprised by this, I usually play a Paladin class. That's which I know is the exact opposite of who I am in real life. But I dig the class. And not seeing it here kind of concerns me. Well, I shouldn't say concerns me, but I'm not as willing to buy the game and try it. Not to mention I've heard that the monetization is kind of crazy. Class fantasy is and I'm kind of bracing myself because I can tell they're going to get into the weird stuff here. Class fantasy is a reasonable enough construct from a design standpoint. We should be going into the process of asking ourselves, how should this feel? However, Ferguson's claims that body type and class fantasy are inextricably tied feel disingenuous. Oh boy, these people are the king of being disingenuous. Speaking with Polygon, he said that having a dab bod necromancer or an emaciated druid didn't really play into the class fantasy. And the question I might throw back at him is, why not? Notice the term here, that I would throw back. Like throw it in their face. Or, just say, the question I would ask, why not just say that? I mean, that gets the point across. But they have to make it aggressive, that I would throw back at him. Now, honestly, I don't know which side of this I am on yet, but I can tell you that, yeah, if a Tomb Raider like Lara Croft, right, she jumps, climbs, she's very athletic, things like that, and if they made her 300 pounds, that would break the hell out of my immersion. Like, No, I myself, whenever you see an overweight person climb steps, when they get to the top of those steps, what are they doing? They're breathing heavy. Okay, I'm sorry. It's life. And the thing about fantasy games, yeah, somebody can say, "Oh, well, people in real life can't heal each other with spells, so all reality's out the window." No, sorry, doesn't work that way, sweetheart. Fantasy oftentimes works on the same rules as real life unless explained otherwise. Like that's why if you're watching a movie and magic is something that's involved, usually magic is one of the first things they throw in your face. They make sure you know right away that this is a difference between your world and the one you are watching on the screen. Most movies that have any kind of fantasy quickly do that. I mean, I can think of some examples. I think Star Wars New Hope, it takes a little while for the Force to become a thing or something that you learn about, but the Force doesn't play a part until after it's introduced, because then we have our Jedi involved, Obi-Wan. But outside of that, most of what's going on is based on our reality. The divorce that you might see right away is the sci-fi, but it's science fiction at that point. And these are things that could possibly be if our technology evolves to that point. Or maybe it totally misses the mark. We don't know. That's in our future, even though that movie's in our past. But you get my point. I hope you do. Whatever. So why not is because there's some rules based. My answer to this is why not? It's because there's still rules of reality that apply in fantasy. And so you're not going to see an overweight person run a marathon and beat everybody, right? Unless there's some kind of magic involved. To answer this, I want to shift gears away from Diablo for a moment and look at another game, one that was released a mere 4 days before. Street Fighter 6 includes a World Tour mode, a sort of fighter brawler RPG hybrid, which you can create a custom avatar and bring them into the Street Fighter 6 universe. Your character is a newbie fighter who, over the course of World Tour story, learns that fighting styles and techniques of Street Fighter 6's various playable characters, some new and some familiar. The character creation model is impressive, robust, and in a relative rarity for this industry. You can absolutely make a fat... I'm so surprised that they are using fat so often. I thought that was offensive. A fat hero for World Tour. I attempted to make as best of an approximation of myself as I could, something which, as a fat person in real life, often falls apart entirely, but surprisingly, I really liked the result, and I got in Street Fighter 6. Sure, this is still a little idealized. My games are not nearly this gorgeous. I don't know what games are, but it's close enough for a video game. Okay, so I admit this is something kind of cool. I think everybody's indulged in it. They've created themselves in a video game, but I think I see where they're going here. And yeah, they might be right. Is that say like in Street Fighter games, not Street Fighter games, in fighting games in general, sometimes they have fat characters who are martial artists who keep up with the fit characters. So yeah, but then again, that's not exactly fantasy, is it? This is a fighting game. Diablo is a fantasy game, but that's a distinction without purpose. So yeah, this game might change my mind on what I just said. But you see, for any Puritans who might be listening, this is the process of taking in new viewpoints and new information and allowing it to change your mind if you find it warranted, right? More importantly, Okay, let me start over. Here, more importantly, though, I spent most of the world tour with my character using Chun-Li style. This meant my fat ass, Jesus, was jumping off walls, doing ridiculously high kicks, throwing fireballs, all sorts of amazing fighting game chicanery. This game never once said, well, you're fat, so you can learn from E Honda or Zangief, and that's it. No, Zangief is not fat. I don't think E Honda really is either. He's just bulky. They're both quite muscular. Anything that a thinner or smaller avatar could do in Street Fighter 6, my World Tour avatar could do as well. Yeah, but it's also an entirely different game going for a different feel. Street Fighter is damn near silly at points. In fact, it is silly. You're not going to pull out spray paints in the middle of a fight and paint a wall. Or, I'm sorry, I've seen a few of the special moves, and they're ridiculous. You're not going to do that. And as far as I know, they have different types of energies, but never mind. I can't say magic's not involved because of Rose. I think Rose is a magic user, but then again, maybe it's I'm trying to remember. M. Bison calls it psycho energy. So my point here is that there's a slight difference. You look at Street Fighter, the world is colorful, it's silly, it's bombastic, but then let's scroll up here. This is Diablo's world, okay? Are we putting together an image yet? This is Diablo. It's dark, depressed, oppressed. Things are bad. The world is going to die. That's what I get from this image. Like, I'm thinking of Darkest Dungeon, where these people are about ready to go on, an adventure where they may not come back. And then we look at Street Fighter. These people want to kick each other in the face like 100 times and then get back up and go to the shop and buy some rolls or something. The world is not anywhere near as serious as in Diablo. So still, I can understand why the developer doesn't want their characters to look silly. Street Fighter has a reputation of having characters that look over the top, and I keep using the word silly, but that's the best word for it. Let's see here. But this article writer has done a good job of addressing counter arguments so far, and like I said, they're starting to turn my mind around. So that's fantastic. I can appreciate someone who thinks of other arguments and tries to honestly counter them. So that's, I hate to say the word the chef's kiss, somehow that got into my head, but yeah, well done. Continuing on with the article. The reason why, if I may draw on my academic day job and my own research into how games portray fatness, it's because mechanically, in terms of the game systems and how the underlying logic works, fatness means basically nothing. We only know a character in a video game is fat because they're made to look or act fat. Pardon me. Sorry, I started I started drinking an energy drink, man, and that's messing with me. Okay, only know the character is fat because they look or act fat. I wonder if they're going to describe what it's like to act fat. But this is just a presentation layer we throw on top of digital skeletons. Video game fatness is entirely a thing we use like a costume or a coat of paint, an aesthetic we drape over things so that they're made so that they're read in a certain way. Capcom decided in Street Fighter 6 that the coat of paint didn't really matter for a world tour. What was important is letting players be themselves and play the type of person that they want to play. Sure, I mean that makes it fun. If you want to create yourself, or if you want to create a fantasy version of yourself, like Carl here said, he said hints to fantasy. In fantasy games, I tend to play the exact opposite of myself, being a paladin, except for in our D&D group, I play a character very much like myself, who is a rogue, who's very greedy and selfish. Maybe I shouldn't admit that. let's see. Continuing on with the article. Ferguson, or developers operating on the same wavelength, meanwhile, would have us believe that it's just not appropriate for a necromancer to be a little bit hefty. Okay, so now you're moving the goalpost. You're going from fat to a little bit hefty. Those are two different things. Now, granted, they don't have objective measurements, but if I'm if I'm looking at a potential mate, a little bit hefty is different than a fat ass, right? A little bit hefty, yeah, I can still find that sexy. Hey, you know, a little tummy, that's all right. That's all right. It's a little something to lay my head on. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so so anyway, that's just something you got to pick out when people are talking, is when they start moving goalposts around like that. You know, they start talking about, you know, this grandiose, far off thing, but then they try to draw it back when comparing it to their version of things. They immediately draw it way back, but they try to act like it's the same thing when they're really comparing apples to oranges. This is something like, just from someone who reads a lot of Puritan content, I catch that all the time. So yeah, they go from saying fat to a little husky. Those are two different things. I'm sorry, I gotta drill that in because it seems like people don't get that. Okay, continuing on with the article. Or for a barbarian to be toned and taught instead of heavily muscled. But Street Fighter 6 is proof that those notions make no sense. In my World Tour fighter can be... I'm gonna start saying big. I hate that word. I'm sorry, you know, it's not that I find it offensive or whatever. It's just, it's being used too often. So your fighter can be big. NB? Okay. Oh, and B. Okay, can be big, and that is I must be misreading that. Okay. They can be big, and who can high kick a man through a brick wall. Why is it such a stretch for, gosh, that word just threw me off. EMBY. Why is it such a stretch that someone learning to control their undead and shoot blood from their fingers could be a little bit chubby? Again, moving the goalpost. It's not as if you can say, well, real life necromancers just aren't like that, for one, and for two, even if you could, that's irrelevant, because a video game is a world where the very fabric of the universe and the laws and physics of how anything works is created from the ground up by developers. There you go. Moving the goalpost. Again, oh, it's just a little bit. Oh, but if you can change one tiny thing, oh, well, then you can change everything. If you step into a world that is that looks like the real world, but completely divorced from it, you're not going to understand the stakes of anything. Right? It, like whenever Mortal Kombat first started having their killing blows, not the fatalities, but killing blows where people were shoving icicles through each other's heads and everything, there was a disconnect for a long time where people like, wait, hold it, you would die from that. That's a fatality. But no, in the world of Mortal Kombat, we had to eventually accept that that was part of it. You know, that somehow they accept it, and then we learn to suspend our disbelief and just understand that the fatal blows are there for coolness factor, right? You have to forget that what's being done to these characters would actually kill them, that they are worthy of fatalities. And so, yeah, you have to actively suspend your disbelief. That's not a good thing. It was something that really took me out of Mortal Kombat for a while until I finally learn to accept it, the same way I accept that whenever you die in a shooter, you respawn. That's not realistic, but we learn to suspend our disbelief for that section because we understand we are playing a game. But this idea that, well, since one thing in that world is different from our reality, oh, well, you can just divorce all of it. If you divorce all of it, then we don't know what the stakes are, and the story doesn't matter to us anymore. Also, I'll say this, a necromancer, as far as I can tell, whenever you look at, say, the way that they work in fantasy, is that they are close to death themselves. Now, typically, when you think of death, you think of skeletons, you think of famine, you think of emaciation, you think of sickness. And so having a necromancer looking fat, plump, and happy is it's it divorces you from what they are. You want them to look something like death, the same way you want a paladin to, even though your paladin can be a little bit mischievous or what have you, he's going to look somewhat bright, colorful. He's going to be golden. I keep saying he, but you know what I'm saying, it can be a he or she. They are going to fit the archetype in some way, or archetype I should say. Okay, continuing on. I'm not necessarily trying to exonerate Blizzard or the Diablo 4 team here. I'm saying the wrong one. Excoriate? Okay, I gotta give this person credit. They got their thesaurus out. I'm not necessarily trying to excoriate Blizzard or the Diablo 4 team here. I think it's much more likely that you can't play a big necromancer or a thin druid. That wasn't what you were saying before. You talking about like emaciation, because the art team wanted necromancers to look emaciated. They're and wasted away, and wanted druids to look burly and bear-like, and that's fine. It's okay to make that artistic choice, but I think it's a little boring and expected. Okay, I can't give the writer kudos or demerits here because I don't know what that word means. I'm a hillbilly, leave me alone. But it's not exactly evil. In truth, I actually love my druid who looks like she used to sell Avon before she started embracing the old faith. She is legitimately one of the better attempts a Blizzard game has made at making a playable big or chubby body, and that should be acknowledged. Okay, so I keep going back to Diablo 3, where you didn't get to choose a face, you didn't get to choose nothing. And really, I think that Blizzard, they would do a big service to themselves if they just took away the customization options. That's, hey, and if they really want to complain about it, take away the body choice options. That way, no one can complain. Everybody gets the same thing. Good luck. And make the characters androgynous. That's the only way you'll make people happy. Now, I need to reword what I just said. That's not the advice I would give Blizzard. I'm just saying that's the only way that they can make everybody happy. And I think that's really the end goal, is everybody's androgynous and nobody sticks out. We're all drones. I would tell Blizzard to ask their developers and their artists, what do you want to do? And check with marketers, hey, what sells? And then you combine those things together. Like anime pretty boys. Yeah. Where you don't know, right? You don't know for a moment, and you got to wait for somebody to talk to the character and use a pronoun before you know. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool for a druid. But yeah, whenever I think of a druid, I think of healthy, right? Because they're so in tune with nature. But anyway, that's just me. I'm not going to say necessarily big, because our D&D group has a druid, and they're a druid in several of the campaigns, and I kind of always picture their character as like puffy cheeks, because I always picture like people in tune with nature are maybe have a little punch. Because of the idea of like, I guess it comes from farmers. And I was raised in Kentucky, and I knew people who were farmers, and they always had the good stuff. They always had the good food. Me and my dad would visit them to, whenever it's time to, slaughter a pig or something. And oh boy, that was good eating. I'll be told I'm a horrible person. Yes, I killed a pig. Let's see here. Okay, is this about over? Is this about, yeah, it's about over. Jeez, I'm getting uncomfortable talking about body types. Okay, so my big and acrobatic Street Fighter 6 character is proof that the idea that some bodies are only appropriate for certain in-game fantasies or styles is still silly and outdated. Ryder, that is your opinion. The artist, right? The artist for Diablo, they want their world to look a certain way. They don't want things to look wacky and silly. I'm sorry. You know, that might bother some people, and I apologize, sort of. But I am not a fan of dictating to these artists what is or is not appropriate for the worlds that they're creating. Okay, we'll go ahead and finish this off. For certain in-game fantasies or styles, it's silly and outdated. I'm all for class fantasies and designing to fit them, but I think saying a big necromancer or a thin druid breaks immersions. Pardon me. Just make the design team's bias obvious. There we go. There's a loaded word, biases. There is nothing natural or necessary about the connection between body type and character fantasy. And until we accept that and start moving beyond it, it's likely that character designs in games will keep retreading old, used ground rather than moving forward into something new and better. Something is not bad because it is old. Something is not good because it is new. That's a dichotomy that needs to die. There's lots of old things. The human race is pretty old. Right? The ability to communicate is pretty old. However, I will give the writer credit. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. The push for, oh, well, you need to make these changes, right? This is the thing that's being memory hold. We're constantly told, oh, that never happened. We never complained about that. We never complained about that. But here they are, they're still complaining about it. They've learned how to do it more subtly. And yeah, it just, I don't know, disingenuous arguments make me want to just climb a wall and hang from the ceiling. I hate them. You can't build on them. You can't work with them. And I'm not talking about the arguments that the person made in that article. I could see having a discussion around that. You know, I would tell them that what they need to do is go out, get themselves a game company, make a game, and do all that. And I'm pretty sure if they looked hard enough, they could find a fantasy game where you could do all the things that they were just talking about. I keep saying they because I forgot the gender of the writer. There is already a very popular game where the writer could do just that. It's called Dungeons and Dragons. Now, of course, we've all been hearing about Baldur's Gate 3. I've been talking about it somewhat in, I've been talking about it mostly in the context of the hypocrisy of the things you can do in this game, and you know, the nudity and stuff like that, the sexualization, and that's fine. And everybody's loving this, even our Puritan brothers and sisters, because it's based on D&D, and Wizards of the Coast get a pass from the woke ideology. However, oh, see, I was waiting for this. I was waiting for the advertisement to pop up. Okay. So make sure it didn't open up a pop-up. There we go. So, I'm going to try this one more time. Here we go. Okay. So, for those who are interested in getting into Baldur's Gate 3, like I am, I'm considering playing it. People got the impression from my videos that I hate or detest the game. I do not. I am simply making fun of it. usually if I make fun of something in usually a good-natured way, it means that I like it. I'm very much that way with my colleagues that I play D&D with. So this article is everything you should do before playing Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I originally, whenever I first looked at the headline, I thought I got the, well, okay, never mind. I'm crazy. And here they immediately, here's the thing I always made fun of. Don't think about the bear sex scene, huh? Everything you should do before playing Baldur's Gate 3 by The Gamer. Written by Mike Drucker. Okay, so let's set up this page. I really like this song, by the way. In case you haven't figured it out, I am a huge fan of Final Fantasy VIII. I loved that game. I didn't care for the junction system, but the story I really got into. Okay, so hey everyone, you folks have a good summer? Everybody finish all those big, incredible games we've been playing for the last few months? Wow, Zelda, Final Fantasy, so much to do in the incredible world of games we could just play forever. And okay, so this is basically an introduction. All right. If you're not familiar, Baldur's Gate 3 is a sequel to Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2. Yeah, that's typically how it works. What if I just ended this paragraph there? If you're on this site, you already know that Baldur's Gate 3 is. Frankly, there's a 50-50 chance that you just want to see if what I say in my cute little list lines up with what you already think about the game. Anyway, gosh, okay, guys, don't throw venom at your readers like that. But then again, maybe Mike is just being cute and cheeky here. Okay, anyway, it's a very big world with big choices from a company famous for making RPGs with big worlds and big choices. You don't really need to have played the original games, largely because this one takes place far later, and hearing, hey, yeah, it's me, I'm Moen, too many times will make you question whether the Earth should exist. Falls flat, my man. In other words, to paraphrase what your mom said, Baldur's Gate 3 is massive and it's going to take a lot of work to handle it. That's what she said. The developer has bragged that the game has 174 hours of cutscenes and tens of thousands of potential endings. There's so much to do that it can feel a little intimidating to jump in. With that in mind, here's everything you should do before playing Baldur's Gate 3. Well, immediately it sounds like you better have a lot of free time on your hands, which unfortunately I just don't have. Like, I'm playing not Diablo. What the hell's wrong with me? I'm playing D&D today. I gotta stop by my brother's, hang out with him for a little while. And then I would like to do a couple more videos this weekend. I'm hoping to get at least 2, but I shouldn't make that promise on stream because tomorrow I might be drunk and just decide I'm not doing shit. But my point is that people are busy, and with how massive these games are getting, it's the kind of thing where you have to start saying, okay, what game am I picking this summer? Not because you don't have enough money, even though I am sorry that is the case for some people. It's because I don't have enough time, which is the trade-off. Typically, if a person has money, they don't have the time. If they have the time, they don't have the money. It's a weird way that the world works. Okay, gosh, I gotta clear my throat. My voice is starting to go on me. Obviously, not everybody is going to instantly jump from their current game to Baldur's Gate 3, but maybe stop effing around. Why am I saying effing? I've been dropping the F-bomb all over the place. And beat Ganondorf, just do it already. You've got all the supplies you need. Stop searching for Koroks, whatever that is. What are you going to... I'm sorry, I don't play Zelda games because that's on console and I'm not a plebeian. What are you going to platinum a Switch game for your own satisfaction? But yeah, that's why you platinum. Anyway, go outside, and yeah, if you haven't finished Final Fantasy 16 yet, it's hard to stop now, unless you're about 2/3 of the way through the game, at which point you really can stop now. I won't spoil what happens, but that's only because what happens spoils what happens. This person thinks they're really funny. Or lack of what happens. Folks, I'm saying the game gets boring, and that's even after it decides to forgo the better half of the color palette. Other games like Diablo 4 never had a huge color palette to begin with, so if you wanted to drop it now, you probably could. Plus, the longer you wait, the more seasons you'll miss, and blah 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 blah. Okay, guy, man, let's get to what we need to know. How long is this article? Because if it's going to drone on like this, holy shit. You spent half the article on the preamble. I don't know, maybe if I wasn't reading it out loud, I would enjoy it more. Baldur's Gate 3 has a deeply detailed character creator. So basically he's saying, decide what character you want. Okay, and then we'll see what he's saying. Has a deeply detailed character creator, which in me is a double-edged sword. Sometimes there's too many options, and I can't decide, and I end up spending an hour at the character creator. I don't want to do that. That could take you hours to go through. From the big choices like class and species to smaller ones like whether you make your character look like a high school crush or that you never talked to or saw again. All of these choices could have an impact on the game, so you want to go in having an idea of how you might like to play, especially if you make that character act like your college crush and they're so cool and they're good at Protoss stuff, okay, and they don't care if they get a B in anatomy because they knew that life isn't about grades. I'm reminded of an article where it was a Kotaku article, and they were talking about, I'm trying to remember the name, Strangers in Paradise, Final Fantasy Strangers in Paradise. And the protagonist was what the writer would describe as your basic white boy, right? In which I've always found it interesting when they need to include the race. But they called him a fuck boy. And then they mentioned in the article that he looks like the scumbag that banged his sister during college and then ghosted her. And it just read like he was just so jealous of this guy that the character looked like, that he couldn't enjoy the game. And this was part of the this is how this person was objectively, I don't remember if it was a review, but it was a review of how the characters looked and how the aesthetic changed through the game. And and this guy, he's droning on and on and on about his high school and college crushes. Sometimes you wonder what happened to them. Sometimes you wonder if they got a family now too. Sometimes you wonder what life would be like if you had told them how you felt and you had that chance. You tried looking them up on Facebook? Wow, but you came up with nothing? Even in old college groups, your life now is great. Don't get me wrong, but you joyfully watch your children fade to non-existence if you could get the chance to go back and do it again. What the fuck does this have to do with the game? This is amazing. Okay, I understand. I think this person, they're trying to be cheeky. Okay. Okay, brush up on the latest Dungeons and Dragons rules. Got that covered. Every time I play, it's my first time playing. I never know if I get sneak attack. It never happens. Every single time I attack something, I'm like, hey DM, do I get sneak attack? I don't understand it. I don't understand the mechanic, and I'm a swashbuckler, which means I pretty much get it all the time. And so I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the time that I expect to get sneak attack damage, and the DM's like, "Oh no, you don't get it," and then that's going to totally throw my plan out because my rogue actually has high intelligence, so I feel absolutely shameless whenever I strategize during battle because I'm like, he has high intelligence, so he would be able to strategize what he's doing during the fight. Okay, so continuing on. The good news is Baldur's Gate 3 does most of the math and walks you through choices that would normally fall to a pencil, paper, and dice. But it's still helpful to know the game it's based on and the newer rules. In all likelihood, you're already very familiar with Dungeons and Dragons because as a kid, you bought a bunch of the books and box sets in hopes that your friends would want to play, but they didn't want to play at all, even at your birthday, because it involved a pencil, paper, and math. Maybe they kind of made fun of you. This okay, so the rule is you want to know the rules for Dungeons and Dragons. Now, there's a lot of rules. So whenever somebody says the rules, you want to know the basic rules. You know, what's going to happen. Don't think about the fact there's a bear loving scene in the game. You might never see it. Well, I don't want to play it. I need that bear loving, baby. I got a fever, and the only prescription is some bear loving. Oh, by the way, though, just remember, this is fine. This is the good stuff. This is new hotness. This is new hotness. This is what we want. Oh, but an attractive female in your game character, you're a weirdo. You're a weirdo if you want that. You know, you go stroke it to some dirty websites on the internet. You pervert. But the bear love. This is what we need. This is the pastime of intellectuals. All right, continue on. One more. The one is going to be really hard for a lot of gamers. It's never fun when a trailer for a movie or a game features exciting scenes that you don't want to see in the final product. And going by how large RPGs work, I'm sure having the bear loving won't be easy, and a lot of people won't see it at all. You'll have to be the right class, romance the right person, make the right story choices. There's a chance you'll never achieve bear loving no matter how hard you try. I've heard bears are picky. They have very high standards. You know, if you're not 6 foot tall, have 6 foot abs, and make 6 figures a year, they're not interested. They're not having it. They're high class bears, right? Hey, boo boo. Okay, so basically he's saying, you know, that don't worry too much. If this throws you off, don't worry too much about it. And from what I understand, the game also added options to like turn off nudity or something like that, which is fine for people who are bothered by that. You know, the option's fine. This doesn't, no, people will scream that I have some kind of problem with this. I don't. I do not have a problem with this. I'm just pointing out the double standard that keeps occurring. Like, if they were to come out with a new Dead or Alive game right now, the Twitter mob would go nuts. But this is totally okay. I don't understand, and nobody's been able to explain it to me. They just call me an incel, which I don't understand. Like, oh, I like attractive women, that makes me an incel. Okay. The world's a messed up place, and people make argument. They don't make arguments, they make accusations. Now look, I'm going to try to do this one quickly because unfortunately I do got to go. I have to literally ass and seat in my car in about 20 minutes. Let's see, let's remove this. Yeah, Breathe that in. Microsoft makes new pizza-scented Xbox controller for discerning gamers. Here's how to win one. I saw this, I thought it might be a parody, so I wanted to read it. It's got 2 comments on it. Okay, so it looks like a slice of pizza, somebody sniffing it. There's Michelangelo over there. And I'm like, please don't tell me it's scented. Because it makes me think of those scratch and sniff stickers that we had back when we were children, and the texture on them always bothered me. And I say texture like I'm eating it. No, like just to touch a scratch and sniff sticker bothered me. Okay, all right. So, oh, this is on Polygon again. You know, the standard in news journal in games journalism. Written by Cass Marshall. Have you ever found yourself playing video games only to wish that all of your senses could be tantalized? Games can provide stunning visuals, beautiful soundtracks, and the controller is carefully designed to work with the player's sense of touch. But what about smell? Don't know about that. I've played a lot of games where I have no intention, no desire to smell what's going on, considering that most games have a sewer level. If you don't believe that, watch Civi's channel. Like, he literally has a countdown. I think he's up to 180 some sewer levels in his games. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It's been a little while since I watched one of his videos, but he's highly entertaining. Finally, a controller is here to sate that primal desire. Microsoft's new pizza-scented Xbox controller has a built-in diffuser in the back that creates lovely pizza fumes for an enterprising gamer to enjoy. Okay, so immediately I'm thinking, how long does it last? How long does this last? Because it's got to burn something, right? How toxic is it? Will it help me die faster? Okay. The controller is a promotional item for the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, a Paramount Pictures movie that will hit theaters in August. Mutant Mayhem looks like a vibrant take on the titular Turtles, and the cast includes big names like Hannibal Buress. Okay, John Cena's in it. Sorry, I'm just going to name off people I know. Jackie Chan as Splinter. That's pretty cool. Ice Cube as Superfly. Okay, Ray Fillet is in it. Seth Rogen as Bebop. Think what you want of Seth Rogen, but I could imagine his voice as Bebop. Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. These are some obtuse characters. Anyway, let's continue on. Who cares about the movie? Fuck the movie. I'm here for pizza controllers. I'm not sure that this gaming accessory is the most useful one. In fact, it might actually hinder your gaming, as you might get so hungry from the pizza scent that you have to pause the game and go order yourself an actual pizza to enjoy. It's also not a subtle little pizza tucked behind the controller. It's a large slice that protrudes out past the controller quite visibly. I guess that's a good thing. Everyone can easily spot it and gather around to enjoy a good sniff. It's artificial though. I mean, I've never sniffed something artificial and be like, that smells so good. Like, there's a difference between smelling a real ham, or if somebody put an artificial scent of ham in front of you, they might smell exactly the same. Maybe you get it perfect, but the fact that I know I am sniffing artificial fumes immediately makes me feel like, oh my God, this is toxic. This is going to kill me. Which is kind of crazy for a former smoker to say. Unfortunately, you can't purchase one of these for yourself. They're being given away through a sweepstakes. Fans need to follow the Xbox Game Pass on Twitter and retweet the account sweepstakes tweet to win one. It's probably for the best. We don't want pizza smell technology to become ubiquitous. I can't believe I nailed that word. Because then we'd have to figure out a way to trump it. And that goes down a strange road. Hey girls, how are you? I couldn't help myself. Oh, okay. Like here in the comments, I find this interesting. Be respectful in your interactions with staff and fellow readers. Some tips on your comment history post launch now lives under my profiles tabs. This message any blah 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 blah. If you want to enable to always show gifts tweets. Okay. I can't imagine needing this many rules. I can't, like, literally my rule for commenting on my YouTube is basically, you know, just don't threaten to hurt anybody. That's about it. Now on my live streams, I'm a little bit more strict. If I feel like you're bringing down the mood and everything, yeah, I'll knock you out of here. But YouTube videos, like you can look at my last video, yeah, people got pretty nasty in there, but you know, hey, you can say whatever you want to about me. I can take it. However, I'm going to have to call it there, unfortunately, because like I said, I gotta be ass in seat to go meet my brother here soon, and so I gotta get out of here. For those of you who are here, thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting, Garl. And those of you who may be listening, feel free to leave a like or you know, subscribe to the thing, do the thing, you know, all the things that the thing likes to thing. And then yeah, you guys have a great night.
Time's up. Let's do this. Leroy!